Yep, folks, it's time. Position breakdown. So we're going to talk about the best position in the SEC. I don't care what you say, who say what, go argue with your mama. I'm going to tell you right now, Oklahoma has the best defensive line in the SEC. And I'm going to show you why. So let's dive right into that. Before we do that, welcome to Unfair Sports. I'm your host, Jay. Thank y'all for pulling up to the channel. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe button, as well as bell notification to join the family. We're going to be talking about every single position for the Oklahoma Sooners. We're going to break down each one. We're going to start today. You're going to get two, because I owed you this a day ago. So you're going to get the defensive line here first, and we're going to work our way with the DBs right afterwards. We're going to go right in the middle a little bit later, and then transition from the trenches on the offensive side of the ball back to the quarterback. And so I was going to go start DBs, and I said, nah, I got to start the position as the hottest one here, which is the best position group in the SEC. Like I said, argue with your mama. Let me show you guys what I am talking about. So the first thing I always look at when it comes to my defensive line players is going to be the big changes we saw going from spring to fall. Of course, you brought in some new players, a CJ Nixon. He comes in as true freshman, right? And because he didn't come in the spring, he was playing basketball at Weatherford High School in Oklahoma. But for Oklahoma, you've got yourselves a nice group of players that's going to get you excited, especially because you got a lot of weight changes. Now, you on the edge side, you saw a little bit of weight change. Wyatt Gilmore lost a little weight. Burgin Kaiser lost a little weight, which Burgin is going to be a pretty darn good edge. But Marvin Jones Jr. added 7 pounds up to the last weigh-in, which was in July. That, to me, is a big pickup. And Taylor Wine, the one that everyone's talking about, is going to be the player that should jump out and be a big deal next season. He added 7 pounds. He's 276 at 6'4", 6'5" That's a big boy at the edge. Of course, R. Mason Thomas maintains there's a roughly 250-ish range. Danny Okoye gets up to 251. You've got some beast on the edge in the pass rush, and that's why you heard in the pass rush in practice there was struggles for that group. They just could not keep up with them boys. The tackles weren't going to keep up. They were young, and they were trying to keep up with some very, 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 very experienced edges. That's going to be a problem. Now, we're hoping PJ Adebaware gives us something. He comes in at 261 pounds. So you kind of expect him to be able to show up and show out. But the law firm himself, R. Mason Thomas, is going to be your leader there. And I expect that room to be a problem, especially with them being the two seniors. You saw the Jay Cruel commitment. And because of the way this room is constructed right now with a bunch of redshirt freshmen and freshmen, there's a very good chance that Jay Cruel's going to find a way to get on the field. But Taylor Wine, man, he's going to be running that strong side. Is it that side? That size? Woo! Kid's going to be a problem. And I don't care, like I said, I don't care what nobody say. Line's going to be one of the best. Let me know what y'all think. Hop in the comments. Want to hear your thoughts. That's starting off with the edges. Look at the defensive line. Let's look at the interior boys, the big boys, the one that y'all like to talk about the most. Because Dominic Williams, of course, is your leader there. But Oklahoma comes in with a great number that we've all been hoping for, right? You got 7 players on the interior that's over 300 pounds. Lolo Hea comes in at 300. Jaden Jackson's at 322. David Rayowe at 312. Stone is up there at 310. Trent Wilson, the true freshman, he said he was coming in, he's going to get over 300 pounds. And guess what? He over 300 pounds now. Ace Hodges, which is solid. Jacob Henry, Mark Henry's boy, he put on 14 pounds. He's up to 295. He's probably going to be over 300 by the end of the season. I'm not going to say right now. I'd say he probably start to lose some weight now as they're really getting into things. But, boy, put in that. But the biggest thing, though, Nigel Smith adds 11 pounds. You've got Trent Wilson adding 13, Jacob Henry adding 14. That's a lot of weight for your interior guys to add. And then Grayson Halton, they think he's a biscuit away from being 300 pounds. He's 292 on that last weigh-in at the beginning of July. When we get the actual depth chart, we'll break this down one more again because I like to look at these numbers with the big boys on the interior because to me, that's the most important spot. And when Cade Klubnik said that he felt like this was the best defensive line in the SEC, Phil Steele says they're number 3 in the country. I see why. I see why they call this. I see why so many people say no. I think Oklahoma's defensive line is going to be top five in the country easily. because of that. The numbers have grown and the production is there too. A true freshman All-American in Jaden Jackson, who's already there and he's still a problem. And David Stone, your former 5-star plus, should now do the things needed to get himself to propel into a big name player because you still got Dominic. And Grayson Halton's considered an NFL draft pick. We didn't think that G-Baby was going to be that. We thought he was going to be solid. But whom amongst us believed that G-Baby was actually going to be a NFL dude? I don't know, but all I know is Dominic Williams is going to probably give us the year that we've been hoping for. You got a couple of seniors, and the line is still young. This defensive line is going to be the best in the SEC probably for another year. They're going to get 2 years of being the best. We just got to keep adding recruits to go with that. What y'all think? Hop in the comments. I want to hear your thoughts. And I say all of that. This is why I am sold on Brent Venables getting his 5th year. The one thing we asked from him was to produce a really good defense. We asked him to give us a solid defensive squad. And guess what he did, folks? He has produced all of you a really good defense. He has given you something that we ain't seen at Oklahoma in a while. We had players. We didn't have a scheme. Did you expect Oklahoma to be considered having the best defensive line in the SEC? How many of y'all? Who of y'all actually thought that? Come on, go ahead and lie to me right now. Because that's the thing that helps Brent Venables. The case that I have for him in this job is this is what we asked for. You were hired to produce Oklahoma with a good defense. And in order to be successful in the SEC, you got to have it in the interior. And now we've got it. That's the only reason why your boy is sitting here saying, all right, I think Brent Venables deserves some time. But then he goes and fixes the problem that he had. He hires the coach on offense. But this defensive line right here, man, this defensive line is everything we hoped for and more. This is something for y'all to be proud of as Sooner fans. Y'all been wanting this. And guess what? Boom, shakalaka, you got it. Congratulations. Brent Venables produced something that you all been hoping for. I want to hear from you all. Do you think Oklahoma can finish the year as the best? Do you think Oklahoma's defensive line will produce the numbers needed in order for this defense to remain within the top 10s in the country? I want to hear from you all. Because in Brent Venables' era in Clemson, this was right around the time he finished his defense as a top 5 defense. And then the next year, he had the number 1 defense in the country. That's what happened. And to be honest, this coming season, they're probably going to have should finish top 5 defense with all the young quarterbacks they're going against. And there's a good chance that the year after, when the SEC changes the schedule and potentially gives Oklahoma a very favorable one, they can end up with the best defense in college football. Just saying, keep that in mind when you think about all this. Let me know what you think. Hop in the comments when you hear your thoughts. All right. Next up, we're going to go to DBs. We're going to jump around. We're going to go to the DBs, so we'll talk corners and safeties, because you know your boy is hyped about them. They've got everything we've hoped for. And we'll talk about who I believe should potentially take some spots. So expect that video later on in today. So hit the like, subscribe, bell notification so you don't miss anything. And we'll chop it up each and every single one of y'all soon. Peace.